recently departed Justice Department official recalls, but he added, there were periods of time where State Department cooperation was necessary, but didn't come. Obama Secretary of State John Kerry declined to comment through a former senior State Department official who said certain requests might have been delayed temporarily because they came at particularly sensitive times in the negotiations, but only with the concurrence of the White House and the Justice Department. But even now, many experienced agents and prosecutors say they are reluctant to pursue counterproliferation cases for fear they won't go anywhere. They say they have also received no helpful guidance on what they can and cannot investigate going forward. Nuclear sanctions. Some said they are biding their time to see how hardliners in the new administration, including Trump himself, deal with Iran. But others have grown so frustrated that they have moved on from the counterproliferation effort, taking with them decades of investigative experience and relationships cultivated with other government agencies and cooperating U.S. companies, a number of current and former officials said. And critical momentum has been lost, many say, as the 10-year anniversary of the initiative in October approaches. This has erased literally years, many years of hard work, and important cases that can be used to build toward other cases and even bigger players in Iran's nuclear and conventional weapons programs, said former Justice Department counterproliferation prosecutor David Locke Hall, adding that the swap demolished the deterrent effect that the arrests and convictions may have had. Quote, even though these men's crimes posed a direct threat to U.S. national security. Let me repeat this. And the man's on the record by name, the prosecutor. Even though these men's crimes posed a direct threat to U.S. national security, the Obama administration has essentially told them their efforts have produced nothing more than political capital that can be traded away when politically expedient, quote, unquote. And it goes on. Let's see. By the time of the nuclear deal and prison swamp, the U.S. government had spent 35 years in pursuit of Iran's ever more sophisticated web of smugglers, traffickers, transport operatives, and procurement agents. In 1979, Jimmy Carter declared that Iran constituted an unusual and extraordinary threat to U.S. security after Islamic revolutionaries overran the U.S. embassy. We had a raft of economic sanctions against Iran, as you well know. And as Iran's suspected nuclear weapons program ramped up, so did the U.S. effort to stop it. Overseas, U.S. intelligence operatives shadowed Iranian procurement agents, cultivated informants, used cyber weapons to sabotage Iran's clandestine program. The U.S. military tried to interdict illicit shipments headed for Tehran. Look at all this. Now, this is public. I'm not making it public. It's public. The Treasury Department issued endless rounds of targeted sanctions, but each time it restricted access to global markets for suspect individuals and companies. Tehran would simply create new ones. And successive administrations tried the diplomatic route to slow or stop Iranian proliferation, including Tehran's efforts to share weapons and research with other enemies of the United States, I might add, like North Korea, without success. In response, federal law enforcement agents and prosecutors were deployed to shut down the Iranian procurement networks and ban the... I don't need to go on. So Barack Obama blew it all up. Blew it all up. Decades of work. Decades of resources, human and financial. Decades of building connections and finding out what the Iranians were up to as they moved to build their nuclear armaments and their ICBMs. And you liberals on the West Coast in Los Angeles, guess what? You'd be first. Now I want to ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Why doesn't this receive even 1/1000th of the attention of the Russian connection, quote unquote, with Trump world? And the allegations that somebody may have been trying to undermine the sanctions without any facts whatsoever. Should this not be front and center? I am telling you, this administration not only did these things, but at the same time, it was surveilling the Israeli Prime Minister. It was surveilling the ambassador from Israel to the United States. It was getting quote-unquote incidental surveillance information of members of Congress, of Jewish groups, prominent Jewish individuals, or Gentiles who opposed the Iran deal. And they didn't close their eyes and ears to the information. They wanted more of it. I am going to continue to do the best I can, even though I'm far away legally from being able to do much, to get into this clandestine activity. Landmark Legal's trying to get into this to find out what took place and to encourage the FISA court to act. But Barack Obama sold out his country for a legacy. That's exactly what he did. He sold out his country. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Shame on Obama.